Welcome back to Soul and Syntax, the channel where we explore the power of books, ideas, and the people behind them. Today, we're stepping back into the 16th century to look at a work that has fascinated readers, scholars, and conspiracy theorists for over 450 years, Les Prophéties by Michel de Nostradamus, better known as Nostradamus. Rather than interpreting his prophecies as supernatural or sensational, we'll be examining the historical context of his writings and analyzing several of the quatrains commonly believed to have predicted real-world events. This episode isn't about belief, it's about language, literature, and the complex ways humans look for meaning. Who was Nostradamus? Michel de Nostradamus was born in 1503 in Saint-Rémy de Provence, France. He trained as a physician and later developed a strong interest in astrology and the occult sciences, common intellectual pursuits during the Renaissance. In 1555, he published Les Prophéties, a collection of 942 quatrains, 4-line verses, written in a mix of French, Latin, and Greek. These cryptic stanzas were intentionally obscure, using allegory, wordplay, and symbolism. Nostradamus never claimed to be a prophet in the religious sense, but he did believe that history operated in cycles and that with enough observation and intuition, future events could be anticipated. Understanding the text, the structure of Les Prophéties makes it difficult to interpret. The language is archaic, the references are often metaphorical, and the writing was intentionally vague, possibly as a protective measure during times of religious persecution. Nostradamus' work doesn't include dates or specific names, at least not consistently, which leaves much of the interpretation open-ended. Many of the so-called fulfilled prophecies have been applied to events only after the fact. Still, several quatrains have drawn attention over the centuries for their eerie parallels with real historical moments. Let's examine some of the most well-known examples. The rise of Hitler, a commonly cited prophecy reads, "From the depths of the west of Europe, a young child will be born of poor people, he who by his tongue will seduce a great troop. His fame will increase towards the realm of the east." Many interpret this as referring to Adolf Hitler. He was born in Western Europe, rose from poverty, and used rhetoric and propaganda to gain support. The term Hister appears in another quatrain and is often confused with Hitler, although Hister actually refers to the lower Danube River. From a literary perspective, this prophecy demonstrates how metaphor and ambiguity allow for multiple interpretations, something common in poetic texts. The Great Fire of London, another quatrain believed to reference a historical event, says, "The blood of the just will be demanded of London, burnt by fire in the year 66. The ancient lady will fall from her high place. And many of the same sect will be killed." The Great Fire of London occurred in 1666, and the line "burnt by fire in the year 66" seems quite specific. However, scholars debate whether this was a true prediction or a coincidence. When studying older texts, we must ask, how much detail is required before we consider something predictive? Or are we projecting meaning onto ambiguous language? The French Revolution. Nostradamus is also credited with anticipating the French Revolution. The relevant quatrain reads, "From the enslaved populace, songs, chants and demands, while princes and lords are held captive in prisons. These will in the future by headless idiots be received as divine prayers." This quatrain certainly echoes the themes of revolution, a populist uprising, the imprisonment of royalty, and the executions by guillotine. Even the phrase headless idiots is often linked to the guillotine. Still, the idea of political upheaval is a recurring theme throughout history. Was Nostradamus observing a historical cycle rather than predicting a specific event? The atomic bombings. This next verse has been associated with the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in 1945. "Near the gates and within 2 cities there will be scourges the like of which was never seen, famine within plague, people put out by steel, crying to the great immortal God for relief." The 2 cities and scourges never seen align with the devastation of nuclear weapons. However, the imagery of war and divine appeal could apply to many tragic events in human history. Again, the literary device of metaphor leaves interpretation wide open. From a book analysis perspective, it's important to recognize how open-ended language invites reader participation, an aspect shared with modern poetry and speculative fiction. The assassination of JFK, another famous quatrain, is linked to the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. "The great man will be struck down in the day by a thunderbolt, an evil deed foretold by the bearer of a petition. According to the prediction, another falls at night." Conflict at Reims, London, and pestilence in Tuscany. Kennedy's daylight assassination and the later killing of his brother Robert lead some to see this as a prediction. Yet again, the vagueness allows us to connect events retrospectively. Thunderbolt could mean a gunshot, or it could simply be poetic dramatization. September 11th attacks. This quatrain is often linked to 9/11. Earth-shaking fire from the center of the earth will cause tremors around the new city. Two great rocks will war for a long time. Then Arethusa will redden a new river. New city is often assumed to be New York, while the two great rocks are interpreted as the Twin Towers. But when we examine the language from a literary perspective, the lines could also describe natural disasters, wars, or other urban tragedies. It reminds us how literature can take on new meanings depending on the reader's context, a key aspect of textual interpretation. The nature of prophecy in literature. So what can we learn from all this? Nostradamus Prophecies sits at the intersection of poetry, history, and cultural myth. It's less a book of fixed predictions and more a mirror reflecting humanity's desire to find order in chaos. From a literary standpoint, Nostradamus engages with archetypes, tyrants, wars, plagues, revolutions, and divine justice. These archetypes recur across centuries and cultures. That recurrence is what allows his verses to feel relevant again and again. Rather than viewing his work as magical or psychic, it might be more accurate to see it as an exercise in understanding patterns, something poets, historians, and even scientists attempt in their own ways. Conclusion. Nostradamus remains a figure of fascination not because he told the future, but because he wrote in a way that invites endless interpretation. His work is a powerful example of how language can bridge time, emotion, and culture. Whether you believe his quatrains truly predicted the future or not, Les Prophéties is an important literary artifact, worth reading not for its answers, but for the questions it raises. Thanks for joining us here on Soul and Syntax. If you enjoy book-centered explorations like this, blending history, literature, and critical thought, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. What do you think? Was Nostradamus a visionary, a clever writer, or simply misunderstood? Until next time, keep reading deeply and thinking critically.